Good morning, everyone. My name is Lorenzo Grandi. I am the director of the City Diplomacy Lab at Columbia Global Center, Paris. First of all, thank you so much for being here with us at this early hour. I'm very honored today to co-host this event together with the permanent mission of the United States of America, the permanent mission of Italy, the city of Bari, and the International Association of Francophone Mayors, AIMF, Association Internationale des Maires Francophones. Before digging into our topic today, which is cities from theaters of war to actors for peace, I would like to leave the floor to Madame Bathsheba Nell Crocker, permanent representative of the United States of America to the international organizations in Geneva. Madame Ambassador, you have the floor.
Good morning and welcome to our distinguished panelists, those attending in the room and those watching online. On behalf of the United States, it is an honor to co-host this side event with Ambassador Cornado and Columbia University's City Diplomacy Lab. I'm very also honored to have Ambassador Filipenko from Ukraine here this morning with us. We are lucky to have Mayor Klitschko of Kyiv, Vice Mayor Shiashio of Bari, Vice Mayor Villacís of Madrid, and Suzanne Klink from UNHCR to drive today's conversation. The event is Cities, from Theaters of War to Actors for Peace. And this is a poignant moment to discuss this topic. As we work together to build back better from the global COVID pandemic and to address the common challenges of climate change, sustainable development, and adequate shelter for all, we now also face a crisis of President Putin's making. Russia's unprovoked and unjustified war against Ukraine is creating an extraordinary humanitarian crisis and the utter destruction of urban areas. Revelations over the weekend of shocking brutalities against Ukrainian citizens, civilians in Bucha and elsewhere in Ukraine are deeply disturbing and need to be investigated thoroughly. We have seen the horrifying images and heard the credible reports of torture, rape, and the execution of civilians. Reports suggest these atrocities are not the act of a rogue soldier or two, but are instead part of a deeply disturbing pattern. The Kremlin's forces cannot and will not act with impunity. The United States, in coordination with allies and partners, is pursuing accountability using every tool available. We are documenting these atrocities and sharing information with relevant institutions and organizations, and those who are responsible will be held accountable. Russia's war on Ukraine has displaced more than 10 million people, most of them women and children. Russian military forces have destroyed hospitals, schools, apartment buildings, infrastructure, and entire cities. Throughout Russia's invasion, Ukraine's cities have won the admiration of the world over for their remarkable resilience. The Ukrainian people have demonstrated that conquering or destroying a city is not the same as capturing the hearts and minds of its citizens. I want to take this opportunity to reiterate the United States stands in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, who must be allowed to make their country's decisions and determine their country's future. We call for Russia to immediately withdraw its military from Ukraine's internationally recognized borders. The United States is working vigorously with the international community to support vulnerable populations in Ukraine and in neighboring countries with humanitarian assistance. On March 24th, President Biden announced the United States is prepared to provide more than $1 billion in new funding toward humanitarian assistance for those affected by Russia's war in Ukraine and its severe impacts around the world. However, the reality continues to be that while humanitarian goods are gathered and en route to areas most in need, the convoys are not able to reach people in besieged cities in Ukraine. We continue to call on the Russian government to allow genuine safe passage so civilians may depart the cities and towns of Ukraine that are besieged by Russia's forces and allow deliveries of humanitarian goods. But let me return to the focus now to our side event, where our panelists will discuss the role cities can play in ending conflict and creating peace. The United States supports the full implementation of the 2030 Agenda and agrees with Secretary General Guterres' call for cities to play a more active role in the Sustainable Development Goals and the UN system overall. Cities around the world have been at the forefront of adapting and applying the SDGs to address local challenges, including in the United States. After New York first published its own voluntary local review of the SDGs, other cities in the United States have followed suit, including Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, and Orlando. Los Angeles has developed a global network of mayors to address gender equity, and it became the first city in the world to use an open source platform to publicly report on their SDG indicators. This innovative grassroots thinking on SDGs by our local leaders is inspiring, and I look forward to hearing and learning from the mayors on our panel. To conclude, the challenges before us are daunting, and many of them will require common commitment to work together as members of the international community. Events like this should reassure all of us, despite the horrors Russia is inflicting on Ukraine, that there is a global community of cities and practitioners that stands for peace and the UN Charter, and that is working together to solve our biggest problems. I look forward to today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Nell Crocker, for your remarks. And I would like now to invite Ambassador Gian Lorenzo Cornado, the permanent representative of Italy to the international organizations in Geneva. Please, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Madame Sheba Crocker, permanent representative of the United States to the international organization in Geneva. Madame Eugenia Filipenko, permanent representative of Ukraine to the international organization in Geneva. Distinguished mayors Kyiv and Grenoble, distinguished vice mayors of Bari and Madrid, distinguished representative of UNHCR, distinguished City Diplomacy Lab Director. It is an honor for me to attend this side event in the framework of the Forum of Mayors, which is a powerful platform for exchange and mutual learning and a great opportunity for mayors to present their achievements. In this regard, the title of this side event clearly shows the way forward: cities from theaters of war to actors of peace. Their potential as driver of peace, equity, and sustainability has in fact recently been highlighted by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres through his call for cities' involvement in a more inclusive multilateralism. This is why the Italian mission in Geneva is very proud to co-sponsor this side event together with the US mission in Geneva, the city of Bari, the International Association of Francophone Mayors, and the City Diplomacy Lab with the support of UNICE. Today's conversation will, of course, refer to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, where the targeting of civilians and critical infrastructures, including schools and hospitals, is flaming one of the worst humanitarian crises since World War II. While the social economic consequences of the pandemic are still producing dire global effects, we have seen the revamping of nationalism and military aggression at the detriment of dialogue and cooperation among states. In the last 40 days, we have witnessed massive violation of human and humanitarian rights, as well as terrifying scenes of devastation in Kharkiv, Kherson, Mariupol, Mykolaiv, Melitopol, and in the Kyiv suburbs, as well as massacres of innocent victims of all ages, including women, children, and elderly people, perpetrated in Bucha and in Mariupol, and who knows, in many other cities. Moreover, we have witnessed the unspeakable suffering of 11 million of civilians who have left their homes, their jobs, their schools because of this war. It will take decades to overcome this devastation. Italy firmly condemns the massacre of civilians, which is a crime against humanity, and expresses all its solidarity to the Ukrainian people. We have to work together, all together, to restore peace in Ukraine, to restore the rights of the Ukrainian people to live free from fear, free from violence, free from oppression, free from foreign occupation. We have to stop this war through political and economic pressures and through dialogue. We have to stop this unprovoked and unjustified aggression by the Russian Federation and help to find viable political solutions, because peace is the only option. Italy is ready to help. We have already put in place financial and political measures over the past weeks in favor of Ukraine, and we have donated 5 tons of sanitary kits through the Italian Red Cross and 20 tons of humanitarian aid like blankets, tents, generators, and heaters. Furthermore, we have granted safe haven to 80,000 Ukrainians in Italy, and many more are expected to come in the near future. Finally, let me express to Mayor Klitschko all my admiration for the resilience and the bravery of the citizens of Kyiv in these difficult times. They are showing to the entire world that peace, democracy, freedom, and rule of law can never be taken for granted and must be defended. Thank you all for your participation and interest in this side event. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Unfortunately, you have both set a scene which is quite somber, which is quite marked by the brutality of the recent events that we have been witnessing from far away. We have today this exceptional chance to learn from one of the protagonists of these sad events, Mayor Vitali Klitschko, the mayor of Kyiv, that is doing us the honor of connecting from Kyiv live through the means of technology. Mayor Klitschko, thank you very much for being with us today. And I would like to ask you if you can please quite briefly present what has been the meaning of a municipality and of a mayor in this theater of war that you have been facing recently. And also if you can add a specific word on what can city-to-city cooperation do to help and support you and your citizens. Thank you. I think there is some technical issues. We can maybe move to the next speaker and circle back to Mayor Klitschko when the connection is reestablished. So I would like to move to to present to you, first of all, our distinguished guests. We have Éric Piolle, the mayor of Grenoble. We have Begoña Villacís, the vice mayor of Madrid, Professor Eugenio Di Sciascio, the vice mayor of Bari, and Suzanne Klink, senior livelihood and economic inclusion officer from UNHCR. Thank you very much to all of you for being here with us today. I would like to start. I think we still have some technical issues. I would like to start, in fact, with Mr. Mayor, Éric Piolle. Historically, Grenoble is a city which is highly devoted to reconciliation, the reception of refugees, and to participatory city diplomacy, which is the best way of conducting city diplomacy. I would like to ask you, what is your reading of the event from a city in peace, but so close with the mind to this theater of war? And what are your plans for helping and supporting the city of Kyiv and the other Ukrainian cities?
Yes, I don't know. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for this organization. A few words, maybe to say that obviously we have been very shocked with what started in February 24th, and going through that, we have seen as well mayors stepping up to cope with their citizens' securities, but as well with public service during wartime. And we saw their courage, and we connected as well, either directly to them or with Mayor just nearby, partly in Moldavia for us, because we are twin cities of Chisinau. And so I engage as well with my counterpart, Mayor of Chisinau, that we will welcome in Grenoble in May, and to exchange about how we can support. Moreover, I think it's really key for us during this time to remind us that humanism is really born into cities and is lively today because we are able to connect through sport connection, through cultural connection, through commercial connection. And we have in Grenoble a culture of twin cities as well, and those twin cities have really become a great adventure after Second World War, because we had then people that wanted to put aside revenge and put aside fear, and to connect and through citizenship and to connect through cultural projects and exchange around both institutions but as well around democracy. For instance, with our twin city in Essen in Germany, we made some workshop and wrote some proposal to add to the Elysium Treaty of '63 between France and Germany, so that how we would see it to enlarge this and to connect people with peace and curiosity that is, I think, required. So at the present time, we actually in Grenoble connect through, we connect obviously with some material support that we gather and organize exchange and shipment to partially to Lviv and to Ukraine through NGOs. And we connect as well to welcome Ukrainian people or people living in Ukraine and moving out, because I think what is key for us when I say people living in Ukraine but not being 100% of them Ukrainian, it's key for us to recall during those wartime the unconditionality of hospitality for us. We are a city that has been built through all people coming to Grenoble from Italy, from Armenia, from Chile, from Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, and more than 100 countries. And that's really what is the heart of the city, being able to do things together. And so to us, it is very key to remind that this hospitality is unconditional for us. And we created a few years ago, 5 years ago, a network of French cities called AIMF, which is basically the translation is National Association for Welcoming Territories and Cities. And so we do that. And saying that as well, we have developed some citizen platform for people who wants to help for both administrative support or cultural support or language support or obviously housing support, because it will be a key stake there. And so we organize with association as well. We organize this capacity for citizens to welcome directly people in their home so that they can really connect. And maybe a last point is to say that we have been chosen by European Commission this year to be the European Green Capital. And I think it's key for us to go through this year of being European Green Capital, keeping in mind that conflicts will be as well, will come as well from climatic change and will come as well from problems with biodiversity attack. So I think we keep in mind that we need to work out and to prepare and anticipate as well for future conflict. And we are really impressed by the ability of mayors in Ukraine to protect their people and to continue to provide public services to them, as well as resistance, obviously.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And we now have re-established the connection with Mayor Klitschko. Mayor Klitschko, it is an honor to have you on video conference. Thank you for taking the time to discuss with us this important topic on how to transform cities from theaters of war to actors for peace. My question to you would be if you can please present what has been the transformation of your daily job of a city, from a mayor of a city in peace to a mayor of a city in war, how this has changed in your action, how you have been keeping the city alive, the city and the citizens alive, of course, and if you can add your remarks on how city-to-city diplomacy can help and support your action. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. We're very happy to give you feedback from Kyiv, from Ukraine, what's going on right now in capital of Ukraine. Is generally in Ukraine, in general situation, what we have. It's not secret, capital of Ukraine from beginning of the war was target of Russian aggressors. From beginning, we have bombing attack and Russian forces want to make a circle around Kyiv, exactly the same what they did already in Mariupol, what they tried to did in Kharkiv, what they did in Chernihiv, but we have huge respect of Ukrainian soldier, Ukrainian army who defend our country, who defend our city. Actually, we destroyed mythos about Russians' strongest army in the world, and Ukrainian soldier, Ukrainian forces show the great performance and defend our city. I explain you why it happens, why Russian army not successful and don't implement the plans in reality. First point, the Russians army, they paid and they come here and they understand it's aggressors. They fighting for the money. Ukrainian soldier, Ukrainian forces defend our city, defend our houses, defend our families, children, and fighting for the children and fighting for the future. And that's why everyone have huge spirit and ready to fight. We doesn't have another choice. We died or we have to defend. We want to be the knee. The reason everyone have to understand, the reason of this war, clearly, Putin have sick idea to rebuild Russian Empire, to rebuild Soviet Union. And the main goal of Russians to take Ukraine and influence of Russian Federation and to have totally control in the whole country. And I hope everyone understand. Some people fighting for the money, and our soldier defend our children and defend our future. I hope everyone understand the motivation, the spirit what have Ukrainian forces. Also, from beginning, I want to say, please don't believe on Russia. Don't believe on Russian Federation. Don't believe on Putin. Couple of examples. We always was peaceful country where live peaceful people. we never ever was aggressive to anyone. In 1994, Ukraine, as goodwill, gave up our nuclear weapons. We was third country in the world with nuclear weapons, and we give up our weapons. And many countries, also Russian Federation, make a guarantee our independence and territorial integrity. If you remember 2014, the men with green uniform without identification, the Russians told it's not our forces, it's not our soldier, it was liar. We always tell that the conflict, war in Donetsk, Lugansk, financed Russians. The Russians deliver weapons there. The Russian soldier there, it was liar. Russians told about fascist, nationalist, radicals in Ukraine. It's everything's lie. The Russians shoot the planes from 2014, and also they told it's not we are. Right now the Russians told to everyone it's special operation against Ukrainian military forces. And we see right now, I was by myself yesterday and yesterday in Bucha, Gostomel, Irpin. What I saw is shocked. The civilian, grandma, over 70 years old, shoot. The civilian with the hand behind the back, shoot. The cars where stay with white flag, where stay with big letters, children. They totally shoot, and the blood inside. We try to find right now the people who is there. Who is the bodies? We find right now in Bucha, just right now, 300 civilians who shoot from Russian aggressors. In our hometown, in Kyiv, through rockets attack, destroyed over 100 civilian buildings, apartments building. We have more than 100 people, civilian, who is died, 4 children. Over 300 people right now in hospitals, and 14 children also right now in hospitals in critical condition. This is genocide. This is war against civilians. This is war against our country. The main goal to destroy the country. This war doesn't have rules. And Russian propaganda explain about some operation. Explain about war against nationalists, fascists, radicals. I'm the part of government, self-government, mayor of the biggest city in East Europe. In my blood, half of my blood, it's Russian's blood. If the Russian propaganda told about fascist radicals, I want to remind our president have Jewish background. We always was peaceful nation, but what happens right now in Ukraine, I was shocked. The city, Bucha, Irpin, Gostomel, the city is it's satellite city of capital, totally destroyed. I didn't see yesterday and yesterday one simple building who is not destroyed. Everything, the infrastructure destroyed, economy destroyed. And Russians have plans to occupy all Ukraine. I like saying very much, and one of them told, "Wolf can lose the teeth, but character never." The Russian Federation always have very aggressive international politics, and that's why, please don't believe Russians. Also, I have one message. The unity is our key to bring the freedom, to bring the peace back to Ukraine. This war is one of the biggest wars after the Second World War. Right now is big tragedy for our country. I talked to mayor of Melitopol. We can't count in right now the civilian who died, but mayor told it will be definitely over 5,000 civilians in Mariupol. We have hundreds of civilians who died in Kharkiv. We have hundreds of civilians who died in Chernihiv. We can't count in right now because the buildings is destroyed. We have to find the people who stay under the blocks. We have to find, I'm more than sure, it's thousands and thousands civilians who died. It's big tragedy for our home country, but it's also big tragedy for Russians. We have to explain and to deliver messages to Russians because every day died sons, husbands, friends. The Russian soldier also died. I was also shocked. The Russian population right now, the last polls told more than 70, almost 80% of Russians support this war against Ukraine. What does it mean? It means the Russian propaganda work very well. And people in Russia zoned from propaganda. I born in Soviet Union. I remember how effective work the propaganda in Soviet Union, but right now in Russia propaganda work much more stronger. It was one example. The main weapons right now in the Russians, it's not the tanks, it's not rockets, it's not the planes. The main weapons right now is media, the liar. And it's not secret. One of the Russians, I give you just numbers, one of the Russian TV channel, Russia Today, have budget much bigger than budget of our city, of capital of Ukraine. More than 2 billion euro. It's mean that they try to zone people with liar. Also, one very important message to all European politicians. We defend not just our children in our families. We defend not just our towns and country. We defend right now the values and principles what Russia brought. And that's why unity of all democratic world is the key for bring the freedom back to Ukraine. Sanction work very well. And if some government in a European country, I don't want to tell, make commercial relationship, stop commercial communication with Russia, because every euro, every cent what you receive from Russians or what you send to Russia have blood, is bloody money. In the blood of this money, it's Ukrainian blood, blood of Ukrainian people. The Russians receive the money and they not invest the money to economy. They not invest the money to the population, they invest the money to the army. And after that, we receive horrible pictures, horrible images from Ukraine. Don't believe Russia. Stop business relationship, commercial relationship with Russian Federation. Sanction is war. And everyone in Russian Federation, every citizens, have to feel that and have to ask Putin's regime what's going on. We doesn't have another choice. We have to fight. We have to defend our home country. And we have to send, sorry for hard language, we have to send the bodies to Russians Federation, back Russian soldier, and Russian population have to ask the government, Russian's government, what's going on. We never want to go to the knee. We never want to live, we don't want to live in a country, in an empire, where no human rights, where no press freedom. And that's why we have two choices. Sorry for that, but it's reality. We're talking right now about communication. We have to talk about Russians told, please try to find solution or compromise. I don't know which compromise we have to find. Every day died Ukrainian people. The compromise, give up some part of territory of Ukraine, it's not compromise. The compromise, to hands up and stay in the knee, it's not compromise for us. And that's why we don't have another choice. We have to defend our future and future of our children. And also the message for every one of you, we not just defend our children in our home country, we defend values and principles. The same values is the same principles what everyone have in European Union. Because our main goal in one day to be the part of European family, to build modern democratic country. But Putin have totally different vision, total different plan. About this plan I'm already explained. That's why it's very important for us. Unity with Ukraine. Stay please with Ukraine. I want to say deeply from my heart, thank you very much for humanitarian help. We need that. We send humanitarian help what we receive to Mariupol, to Kharkiv, to Sumy, to Chernihiv, to another cities. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. You received temporary Ukrainian people who moved to European Union. It's also very important we see who are real our friends. And also we need weapons. We're ready to fight. We stay in the front, one of the strongest army in the world, but we need, I want to say, defensive weapon. Defensive because we defend our country. We doesn't have another choice. If we don't stop the Russians in Ukraine, we don't know exactly which plans have Russia. I'm more than sure it's not just Crimea. It's not just Donetsk and Lugansk. Where is end of Russians' ambitions? Board of Poland, or board of Czech Republic, or board of Germany, or maybe it's rebuild DDR, where Putin spent a lot of time in, which was actually DDR was part of Soviet Empire. If I saw by myself the horrible, the disaster, the dramatic emotions what receive everyone who see what happens with Bucha, I'm more than sure Putin is not healthy. He's sick. The healthy man never bring tragedy to millions of people in Ukraine, also to people in tragedy for people in Russia, because Russian soldiers will be died. They already died, a lot of them. Almost 20,000 Russian soldiers died in this war. It's big tragedy for whole European Union, and we have to stop this aggression altogether. Please stay with Ukraine. Please support Ukraine because we defend the peace in every country in Europe. If someone think the war somewhere far away from you, if this war doesn't touch you, it's wrong. It's mistake. It's your mistake. This war can touch everyone in European continent. And that's why, one more time, thank you for support. Thank you for support of Ukraine. We need help from our friends, and please be proactive. Proactive. Sanction, humanitarian help, weapons we need, and political support of our home country. It's very, very important for us. Right now, the situation in Kyiv a little bit better. The people coming back, but situation pretty critical in east of Ukraine. And we don't know exactly numbers of died civilians. We don't know how situation will be developed in next couple of days or next couple of weeks, but we know exactly Russians want occupied Ukraine and want to make authoritarian regime in our home country. We don't want to do that. We still fighting and still defending our future and also future for everyone in Europe, because this is, I hope everyone understands, we have the same principle, democratic principles and democratic values. Very important. Everyone have to understand that. If you have some questions, I will be very happy to give you answer for some points where you have an interest. And by the way, thank you. Also, one example. I'll touch that. You see me with uniform. I check blog posts in our hometown, and I meet the people, civilian defense, the people who never ever have an idea to take the uniform. They have very peaceful profession. I meet actors, musicians, doctors. Right now, they stay with the weapons and ready to defend our city. One more example I want to tell you. Example, story, true story. A couple of days ago, the wreckers destroyed the apartments building in the north part of our city. Old man come to me around 60, over 60, told, Mr. Mayor, what I have to do? I am homeless right now. I give him proposal to evacuate him to west part of our country, or maybe outside of our country, they told, sorry, Mayor, I don't want to leave. In this city I spent all my life. I have my friends, relatives here. I don't want to leave. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Klitschko, please, please, give me weapons. I want to defend my hometown. With rockets, with bombing, the Russians think they destroyed the vision of the people to take house. Instead, then they have total different reaction from our population. They were angry. They have a will to defend families, children, our hometown. And that's why right now we move women and children to west, to much more safety part of Ukraine, and the men stay in our hometown and take right now uniform, take the weapons, and ready to die if nobody want to die, but we doesn't have another choice. We don't want to live with authoritarianism, without human rights, without rules in Russian Empire. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to give you answer if you have them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, as you can imagine, we are all working, yes. We are all deeply moved by your words, and I have to report to you that throughout the last day, there have been a continuous expression of solidarity towards your city and Ukrainian cities from the cities attending this forum. So you are not alone at all. And I have the chance to have here with me representatives that show how committed cities are to support you. And so I would like now to leave the floor to Ms. Villacís, that yesterday already presented how European cities can be creative, can be inventive in developing quick solutions to support Ukrainian cities and Ukrainian people.
Well, it's not really easy to speak after Mayor of Kyiv, Mr. Klitschko. First of all, I want to express you the solidarity of Madrid and to let you know that, well, what you're doing right now, fighting for your kids, you're actually fighting for everybody's kids, because Ukrainian kids are our kids right now. You're fighting for the principles we defend. From Madrid, you are our European compatriots. We are going to be by you, and we are going to do as much as we can to help you, because you are, as I say, our compatriots, and we'll never forget that. We stand by Ukraine. We stand by you. We are so grateful for what you are actually doing, because you're defending the justice, the truth, because as you say, this is when we are, truth is today being betrayed, actually. They say that there was going to be no invasion. There's been an invasion. They say that we never, the tanks were not going into the cities, and the tanks went into the cities. They said that they were not going to kill anybody, and they are killing people every day. And we're actually seeing pictures that we never thought that we were going to see in our lifetime. And as I said yesterday, I think Europeans, we took too many things for granted. This, my generation, we don't have any antibiotics against wars, because we've never been through wars, against the poverty after wars, against pictures like that in European soil. But, well, actually, I'm seeing someone from Sarajevo that has. We actually know what it means. So this is the main fight. It's not only the fight for saving your house, but for saving everybody's house, for humanity, for solidarity. And I think we see this, we can do a lot more that we are actually calling to. we can do a lot more. Yesterday I was saying that I believe the cities, the local government, we are the skin of the administration. It is true that government, they draw laws, they write laws about solidarity, about how to fight against crime, about how to deal with refugees, but we are the hands that take care of these people. I've been with Ukrainian families that are actually coming to Madrid, and I spoke to them. And they've been ripped their dignity, they've been ripped their humanity. They are scared right now. And it is our duty, it's the duty of the cities to restore all the dignity, all the peace. We don't want them scared, we don't want them suffering, we want their lives back. And we, the cities, are in charge of all that. That's why when we are calling for unity, we are not only calling for unity of all the states, we're actually calling for unity out of all the governments, the states government, but also the regional governments, the local governments, because we are the hands, we are the eyes, we are the ones that are there. I mean, it is the mayor who someone stopped to ask him for a shelter. It is the mayor who is stopped for tell him to defend the city. It is the mayor, because everybody knows the mayor's faces, and when you think of calling somebody to solve a problem, you are going to think of a mayor. So Madrid, we are going to try to help you a lot more. We have an initiative that I want to expose you today, because maybe we have more cities that can, think that they might be able to do something similar, and it is called District 22 Kyiv. Am I saying it right? Kyiv, sorry. Madrid is the capital of Spain. It is a large city. It's the second largest city of all of the European Union. 3.2 million citizens are living in my city. We have 21 districts, very big district. But right now we're going to have a 22nd, and it's going to be called Kyiv. And under that umbrella, we are going to take all the projects that we are taking out from Madrid, the humanitarian aid that right now is up to 2 million euros, and we can increase it because you need help, and we know that. The line of attending refugees that we already have, we built a shelter that is a very nice shelter. I'd like to show you anytime we can for families right now. For 300 refugees, where they are treated with dignity. They're not their houses, but they do have wooden floors, and they do have a park for the kids to play. And we do have people that translate and are helping the kids to go back to their sports, because a lot of these kids do sports, and I went back to them, and it's a pleasure to see how they are going back to gymnastics. It's beautiful. We are trying to, as I say, restore the dignity. We are doing courses so they can understand Spanish and they can start working, especially women, because most of the people that are coming are women right now. I see the women and the kids, but I think that some of the kids don't have a father anymore. I mean, think about the fathers and what you're doing over there. So from capital to capital, Mr. Klitschko, you have Madrid to support you. I think it's very important, because we had tons of solidarity from citizens, but I think it's very important for us not to understand that this is going to be a chronic problem. I mean, we cannot lower the tension, because the war keeps coming on. We get pictures all the time. I don't want the people to get used to the pictures, because Ukrainians are going to need help for a long time. And the last thing we want to do is to give you hope. I think Ukrainians, they need to understand that this is going to finish, and that there is going to be a time where their city are going to be restored, recovered, and that's what we want to do. So what we want to do for you is listen to you, tell us what buildings you need to be rehabilitated, and we're going to have a project to rehabilitate the buildings you tell us, because you need to tell them, you need to tell the people from Ukraine that there's going to be a day after. And you need to tell them that what they're seeing right now, which is destruction, is going to change one day. So this is what we want to do from Madrid. We're choosing Kyiv because it's our capital, because we have the mayor here. But I commend you all the cities of Europe, please, let's do what we do. Let's do what we do the best. Let's give them arms, let's give them hope, let's give them, a belief that European Union is useful. And we defend the same values, and we need to be so grateful to them because they are defending the values. I just want to say that 4 days ago, Mr. Klitschko was dealing with having their city clean, and today Mr. Klitschko is dealing with, collecting weapons to give to people that has never been using weapons before. I mean, he's dealing with images that he'll never forget. He's dealing with images of kids dying. So it is not acceptable. We cannot accept. And of course, we want the sanctions need to be even higher. Mr. Putin cannot understand that this is acceptable. We all need to reject that. We all need to support Ukraine. We all need to fight for the truth because this is a fight for justice and this is a fight for truth. So with these actions, you're going to have more arms because cities are powerful. You know that because you're the mayor. And thank you for what you're doing from our heart. Thank you.
Dear friends, I'm so sorry. I have to leave because I have so much appointments right now. It's my main mission right now to bring safety and save the lives of the people. And right now, the whole infrastructure is destroyed. Everything destroyed in our country, in our hometown, and right now a lot of challenges. I want to say thank you very much for solidarity. It's very important for us. Thank you very much. Stay together with Ukraine. And one is bad news. Nobody from world experts, from politicians, tell exactly when will be end of this war. We don't know how long will be died people. And I'm more than sure, after what I saw in Irpin, Bucha, Gostomel, its satellite city of capital, is genocide of Ukrainian. It's everyone have to understand that. This war doesn't have rules. No rules. And altogether, the unity around Ukraine is a key for freedom, key for peace in our country. And one more time, thank you very much for every one of you who support Ukraine. It's very important in this period of time, and we see who are real our friends. And also some message for some politicians who try to be for the peace in Ukraine from one side, and from another side they still make relationship, the commercial relationship, commercial connection to the Russia. You can't be half pregnant. Right now the world, black and white. Are you for peace and support Ukraine, or you support aggressors, Russians? Sorry, it's hard to listen, but it's truth. And one more time, we need your help. We need your unity. We need your solidarity. And all together, just all together, we can stop this horrible war and bring back peace to Europe. I wish you good day, and we're fighting right now to save the people's life. Have a nice day. I have to leave. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. We will, of course, keep in touch with the municipality of Kyiv and other municipalities to make sure that the solidarity arrives where it needs to arrive. And I'm sorry we are running a little bit late, so I would like to now leave the floor to Professor Di Sciascio. The city of Bari is well known for being a city that has in its value the friendship, the solidarity, the capacity of coming together with different cultures. And I would like now to leave the floor to Professor Di Sciascio to see how he can, in fact, adapt this century, millennial tradition to the situation we are living.
Thanks for this invitation. And as Bari we believe in peace. We've historically been a place of dialogue between East and West, but we also must say clearly that we stay in full solidarity with Ukraine, with the mayor of Kyiv, with peace. Today we cannot turn our eyes because there is a real aggression. The words of the mayor of Kyiv that has been so clear in his efforts to make us understand that our situation Ukraine and Kyiv is in speaks for itself, but also images speak for themselves. The images that we've been seeing, that we thought had been forgotten from Europe at least. We have had 75 years of peace, and it's true that we forgot that peace and freedom are not free. We forgot for so much time and thought it was a commodity, but it's not. It's never a commodity. And now we're seeing in cities, and it's true, cities are the hearts of people. Cities are where events happen, in good or in bad things. Now in bad things. And how can you not cry when you see children in the streets, dead with their parents? And as the Italian poet Dante said and wrote, se non piangi di questo, di che pianger suoli? And if you do not weep about that, what are you used to weeping about? And so, because those images are real testimony of what's going on. And we must say the truth, there is a war. But what can we do? Bari as a city has been welcoming, as several other cities, several refugees. Professors are teaching in our local universities. We have enrolled students. We're giving drugs, medical drugs, whatever. And we're trying to do what we can. We're welcoming and providing for people who have come as refugees, but they, first, they don't want to be refugees. They want to come back. They're split families. Their children, alone, only with their mother. So it's really heartbreaking. And as you say, the images of war, you could say that these are the fortunate ones. They did it. They made it. But that cannot be also if we prepare for a long period probably of displacement. But as a city, the effort that we can make is surely to provide directly to other cities. But I think that a possibility also in this location, in the event of the Forum of Mayors, is that each city that can do it, as Madrid said, should adopt a location, should adopt a landmark, according to their possibilities, according to their wealth. But it would be an extremely important message, I think, because as also Lord Norman Foster, who was yesterday here in the main forum, said, well, in Britain, well, in 1943, we were doing in the middle of the war, they tried to build a master plan because hope comes for projecting things. And so we have to support this projecting beyond. We must be very clear. There is a war, there is an aggression, but we also have to provide something about this. And one of the things that cities can do nowadays is providing a token. For example, if it's a small city, it can be crowdfunded. But now we can already put a symbol of friendship and a symbol of our will as cities to build back, to give them hope. And this is a thing I think we can start imagining. It doesn't require too much effort. and I can see it, there is a goodwill. And then, as an Italian citizen, as part of the city, and also, as our Prime Minister said, we have to support, as we did also with other Balkan countries, to support the expediting the process of Ukraine into the European Union. If we share the same values, we have to share the same brotherhood. And I think this would be a really powerful and positive message. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Mayor. We can see that there is this city diplomacy which is so deeply connected to values and also capable of transforming those values in concrete actions. We are not alone in this kind of activities because we have the support not only of nation states but also of international organizations, and we have now the chance to listen from Ms. Klink, Susan Klink. She will share with us the testimony coming from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Ms. Klink, if you can just have only a 3 minutes, I'm very sorry, statement, because we actually are already out of time. Thank you.
Well, many thanks for the opportunity to speak. I would like to add my thanks on behalf of the High Commissioner for Refugees for organizing and convening this important roundtable, which aims at reflecting on the present and future contribution of cities as actors of peace and development in line with the Global Compact on Refugees and the 2030 Agenda. We have already seen very much on the Russian situation, so I won't describe much more on this in general because of the time, but just to mention that it's important to have take into consideration that it is the fastest growing refugee crisis since the Second World War, and more than 4.2 million refugees have already fled Ukraine in less than 6 weeks since the Russian Federation launched a military offense against Ukraine. And that means that more than a quarter of the population of Ukraine has been forced to flee their homes. While we don't yet have a breakdown of the age and the nationality of arrivals in the different countries, reports indicate that some 90% of those arriving are women and children. We are following up with the national authorities who collect the data on this. An interagency refugee coordination forum led by UNHCR has been set up and established at country level in Belarus, Hungary, the Republic of Moldova, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia to support the effect and efforts of the concerned governments. Cities play a fundamental role in the refugee response, and their engagement is highly remarkable. They are in the front line, providing reception to refugees, helping to cover the basic needs, conducting efforts for their inclusion into municipal services such as education, childcare, and housing, and establishing coordination mechanisms for the multiple local actors willing to engage. UNHCR is supporting cities and national governments to address humanitarian needs, provide protection, and facilitate inclusion into existing national services and systems. Among others, multi-purpose cash assistance programs have been set up in Moldova and Poland to bridge the gap until social safety nets can be accessed. UNHCR is coordinating with local authorities to reinforce reception conditions and identify additional reception facilities to accommodate those with immediate needs and longer-term needs. We're working to improve access to services, including psychosocial support, legal counseling, and interpreter services. UNHCR continues to monitor arrivals to ensure access to rights and services, including for those with specific protection needs, including unaccompanied and separated children, older people, and those with disabilities. But we also urge you not to forget other refugee crises in the world. UNHCR has continuously been advocating for access to asylum for all refugees. Respecting human rights and refugee rights is not a choice. It is a legal and moral obligation and should never be contingent on nationality or mode of arrival. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Klink. And well, I think, unfortunately, regretfully, this is all we have time for today. I would like to say that I think we can move to the other second day of the Forum of Mayors with a little bit of optimism, knowing that there is this alignment between nation states, cities, international organizations in acting for peace. And if cities has not been able yet to prevent the clash of violence, to prevent wars to start, this is possibly because they have been relegated to quite the lateral side part of international relations. I think that the voice of peace is truly a voice, the voice of cities is truly a voice for peace, and I welcome this forum, I welcome this event that create a process that will lead to a stronger involvement of the voice of cities in international relations and so forth. Of course, the integration of the voice for peace of the citizens of all over the world. Thank you very much.